the text, and I'll go ahead and read that. It's 2 Corinthians 9, verse 14. And by their prayer for you, which long after you for the exceeding grace of God in you. And Brother Ricky's going to be focusing on that last phrase, for the exceeding grace of God in you. And the main focus of this passage here is God. He is the center. In fact, if you take God out of it, there would be nothing left. There wouldn't be any grace. There wouldn't be any desire for the brethren to see them and to be together. So God is the center of this passage. Exceeding, and we've talked a little bit about that this morning. Exceeding means abundance or large or increasing. I really appreciated Sister June's analogy on the acorn and how it grows exceedingly large. It grows, it takes over. Exceeding is the manner of God. This is his manner. Nothing that the Lord does is small. It's always large. The Lord is greater than any other, so we can reason that what he gives is greater than any other. Scripture says, where sin did abound, grace did much more abound. It was greater than sin. And in our passage here, exceeding presumes that there is a need for the grace of God. Now, Paul experienced this need whenever he had the thorn in his flesh. He had a thorn, and he said he went to the Lord 3 times and asked that this would be removed. And Jesus verbally told him this in 2 Corinthians 12:9. He said, and he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. So this exceeding grace is what allowed Paul to continue and to labor even with a thorn in the flesh. And it's the grace of God. It's his grace. He's the author of the grace. So it is his to give, and he gives it freely. And grace is not dispensed by any other. It only comes from the Father. In Romans 1, verses 4 and 5, Paul writes concerning the Lord, and he, Jesus, being declared to be the Son of God with power, according to the Spirit of holiness by the resurrection from the dead, by whom we have received grace and apostleship. It came from Jesus. He is the one that dispensed it. We're told that the law came by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. It is his. He is the author of it, and he gives it. The grace of God is exceedingly large. And Brother Ricky will talk about this here in just a minute. But without this grace of God, we would die. We would perish. We would not be able to weather the storms of this life. The grace of God justifies us. We're taught by grace to deny ungodliness. We grow in grace. We're preserved by the grace of God. The grace of God fills us and sustains us. And I thought it was interesting how the Spirit worded this, but it's the exceeding grace of God in you. In you. The grace of God requires a fit vessel. He will not dispense his grace into a vessel that is not fit. So we can reason that this grace is reserved for his saints. No one else, and Brother Gene talked about that this morning, that the heathen, or those that aren't believers, they get the rain and the sun and the things that everybody gets. But the grace of God is specifically for his people. For his people. And grace has an intended purpose. It's not just dispensed and then that's it. There's a work to be done. And this is the reason why grace is given. So, brethren, we can say that if you have received grace from the Lord, if it has been given to you, then this is a testimony to you that the favor of God is upon you.